Morning everyone. I'm sorry I haven't got my face on and done my hair and everything today, but just thought I'd jump on here and do a quick podcast. Um, so hope you had a great weekend, and I've been having fun. Went for a 12k run yesterday. Took me over an hour, so pretty slow, but gave it a go. It's raining outside at the moment down here in Melbourne, so those of you here in Melbourne, well, great time for study. No temptation to get outside and enjoy the sun and all that sort of stuff. So fantastic. Waters the garden as well. So who's complaining? So anyway, I thought I'd fill you in on something else that I got involved in last week. I'm an employee at Wyndham City Council, and I've often thought during my degree, especially seeing that I was doing a major in accounting, what sort of roles that an accountant might have. And it's incredibly diverse. So I'm a CPA and I'm engaged at Wyndham to run the community grants program. So I work in community development, and a whole bunch of people there who are not financial and who don't really know what a business case is, or, really get involved in that sort of stuff. They're more the touchy-feely side of things. They probably wouldn't like it if I said that to them, but that's my take on it. So I was there on Friday night at an Indian community. We had the dinner there so that we could get the Indian community into council and chat to them about how we could best support them, and their residents to get involved in the community, to be well connected, and just to increase the quality of their life. And they run a lot of events and festivals and things like that, so we wanted to be able to be really supportive of that. Now, other people that were talking there was our economic development manager and our marketing and comms and events manager, and really a cross-section of those working at council. And so, look, I really encourage you to consider council as a career option. And I know Candice from Group 8 there, she's involved, she's at council, and she seems to really enjoy it. And look, I think it's a great option to really help out, especially if it's in your local community. Anyway, the profit and loss statement, or the statement of financial performance, is what we're looking at this week. Now, how does that fit in with the balance sheet we did last week? Well, basically, the profit or the loss of the firm affects only one item in the balance sheet, and that, of course, is owner's equity. And it appears there at the end of the year as retained earnings. So essentially, in the balance sheet retained earnings, we've got profit and loss from all prior years. We can itemise them separately, or we can group them together. And in fact, if there's an error in a previous year's financial reports, what do? We make an adjustment, a transaction entry to the equity account. So that's how it all sort of fits in. Profit and loss flows through into owner's equity, and then through into clearly the balance sheet. Now, of course, another thing to look at there is, how does this relate to the share price? A lot of people get a little bit confused. I know I certainly did. In how does the share price relate to the owner's equity? Isn't that the wealth of the owners, what the value of their shares is? And of course, thinking here in terms of a publicly traded entity, it does relate to the wealth of the owner in terms of how much they can sell their shares for. However, it doesn't relate to owner's equity, in the sense that the only item recorded in owner's equity is the first initial public offering, where the shares are sold by the company, and it's the only time the company sells those shares, when they make a public offering. The rest of the time, those shares are traded between two third parties. Now, essentially, that capital that has been raised stays the same. A lot of people will use the fundamentals of a company, look at their assets, look at their liabilities, look at their debt, all sorts of ratios and things, to trade their shares. If you're buying an entire company, you definitely need to look at the fundamentals. That's absolutely critical. If you're trading the shares, I won't say that it's of no consequence, but it can be overestimated how important that is. And the reason is that the share price is not a reflection of the wealth of the owners, it's a reflection of the expected future wealth that will flow from those shares, and that relates to dividends and growth. So if a share price is seen to be likely to increase, and a lot of times you'll get market analysts saying this share's a great buy, realistically, just in them saying that, pretty much means that there is 100% that the expected growth of that share is 100% built into the price already. So it's not a good buy. So there's this efficient market hypothesis that is used, or that is a theory to explain why the share price is what it is, and that it builds in all information. And there's even a level of that hypothesis that says that that it even builds in all of the internal information, which basically kind of assumes that every company has insider trading going on, which I don't think that everybody necessarily agrees with that theory, but it's certainly hypothesized by some. I know that's a bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to just draw your attention to the fact that the share price is not the same as the owner's equity. The owner's equity reflects the capital raised on initial public offering, which relates to the price at that initial price only. Of course, times the number of shares offered. And some companies have several public offerings. Anyway, I've banged on about initial public offerings for a long time. I used to be a market analyst, so I've sort of been there in that world. But let me just... Okay, the only other thing I was just going to mention was, in terms of study, life balance, just to encourage you all to keep to your schedules and your study plans and things like that. I know it's really tough to do that throughout the units and throughout the weeks, and as I went on in my degrees, or my CPA and my bachelor degree, I got a little bit better at that, but never was really good at it. So yeah, just keep trying to put in those hours each week, because it's really hard to catch up when you've got work and other things. I know, and as you would know, and I know that Stephen, Mona, Fiona, you've got kids as well. Many more of you, I'm sure, have kids. And so there's all those extra demands. So just hang in there and just keep putting in a few minutes here and a few minutes there, an hour or two when you can manage it. And definitely use some of that time to get on the discussions too. There's all these studies done that show that collaborative learning in an online environment where you're chatting on discussion forums is a fantastic way of learning, and it really does build your knowledge. And it builds practical knowledge and really practical skills as well, in being able to actually converse about the things you're learning. So it's not just in your head, it's something you can actually use. So I think that's all I've got here. I'm going to set this up in a discussion forum, so you can raise any points that I've mentioned here, and I can elaborate them on them in the forum. But also, just ask any questions that you might have about the stuff that we're doing, and I'll respond in the next podcast and maybe elaborate a bit there. So have lots of fun this week, and I'll catch you next time.